Yeah, and I think you hit on a key point. It's that inventory of your systems, right? That's so important. And I think as a journey, when I started out, also you'll remember a little bit of this because we worked with your teams on this. But just getting to that, what do we actually use? What do we actually have in the system? What should be part of scope? What shouldn't be? That's a tricky thing for, I think, all organizations to get their heads around, and that's in the pre stages. So yeah.
Well, maybe that's a good segue, because I know you had tried to implement 4201 before you even came and talked to us. And so I'd be curious, what were some of those challenges? And then how was working with us able to help you along the way?
Yeah, that's a great little segue, but it was definitely around looking at the application level control. So I think we have GRC tools, and we do vendor management well, and risk management, and all those things are very well connected. Where we struggled, where we really wanted our AI management system or whatever tool we use to shine, was to say, okay, we're going to use 42001 as almost like a baseline, almost like a GDPR-esque for privacy. So that's going to be our baseline, but we want to build upon it. So how can I have a tool that can then say, okay, I meet these requirements, but now suddenly New York is in scope. So I want to add that. So I want to add all these frameworks that might come out in the next months and years, and who knows what else is going to hit us. And I think that's what sold me on the FairNow platform. When we started looking at it, we realized that FairNow does that. It kind of has that, here's your inventory item. Then we make recommendations to what frameworks apply based on your intake, and that's kind of how you govern your AI system from start to finish, which I think was just amazing for us and our program. And I think the auditors kind of raved about that portion of it too.
Yeah, in fact, you guys have OneTrust. I know you appreciate using OneTrust for a lot of activities, and you felt that FairNow and OneTrust complemented each other on this journey.
Beautifully so.
Right, so that's good to hear. What would you say for folks who are just starting out, maybe like what are the 3-4 big buckets of work when it comes to ISO 42001, AI governance, AIMS? What would you say are the big buckets of work?
Oh, there's a few to call out here, but I think inventory of your systems, inventory of the system, that's a good thing. I think something that was a little bit of an uphill battle for me was the assessment side of thing. So the notion of an AI impact assessment and having the right level of impact assessment for the right tool, because you inventory your system and then you realize, well, this is a low risk system because it just does this recommendation thing for spell checker. It's not that big of a, but then you have some of our tools, for instance, that deals with recruitment, that deals with hiring. And as soon as it goes into that high risk category, the assessment looks very different. And then I say two other things that kind of hit us from memory was the policies and the training. Policies, manuals, those type of stuff we thought we had everything covered. But as you dig into that application level, what each application requires, I think that's where you go back and say, okay, my AI policy is missing this, and you add it and you have to tweak things. And like I said, the last bucket was definitely around the training aspect. I don't know if you remember, but that kind of came up as you need to do more. We thought we can get away with X, but we needed to have a lot more coverage. And again, very different to 27,001, 42,001 hits everybody, because let's face it, everybody's using AI, right? So
right. I want to re-emphasize 2 points that you made that I think it's worth calling out for folks who will listen to this. One is the risk triaging point that you made. And this is a really core component, because if you you guys have a lot of applications. So companies are going to have in the future hundreds of applications. If you try to apply an AIMS management program to all of your AI applications equally, you will drown. Absolutely. Can you imagine, Gevangee? And so the branching and the risk triaging of like, hey, these, half of our applications are low risk. We don't have to do that much. But these others are high risk. Hey, we do have to do a lot more, right? So being able to bifurcate, triage is a huge part of this. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely, absolutely true. Because we only have a limited amount of time and resource, right? And you really want to focus your attention on the right tool at the right time, or the right use case at the right time. And I think that's going to be the next level of kind of organizations are going to see that a lot. It's like, hey, we have this approved tool and it's approved for X, Y, and Z. But now the use case that I'm putting on top of it is very, very different. So the impact assessment looks very much different. So again, this is why I love the way we inventoried our systems, is to say, hey, we can link that tools together, but this use case is a high use case just because of the way you're using your AI system in this.
And that way you can also make smart decisions and say, oh, wow, that one thing, the way we're using it is high risk. Maybe we use it differently and then we don't have to worry about those risks, right? Like you can make all of those kind of dynamic.
That's the beautiful thing. Yeah, and that's the whole thing, because you can apply the same guardrails to reduce that risk to what is acceptable to you and your company.